So this is basically the next slide. In this slide, we are going to cover the Agile Manifesto, the 12 basically principle. So let's go through these principles one by one. The first principle is our highest priority is to satisfy customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. So what is this? Uh, uh, Salish, do you have any question? Okay. So basically, what this first principle is saying is uh, the highest priority of a Scrum team is basically to satisfy the end customer, basically to understand what the customer wants and or needs, and deliver that to the customer early. So if you remember, in waterfall we used to deliver the first product version of product by 6 months, but here in agile we deliver in every 4 weeks, which is less a month or less than a month. So the key idea here is uh, basically deliver early to customer and continuously. So keep delivering early, like which is like at least once a month or twice a month, or and keep continuously deliver valuable software to them. Continuously means sprint after sprint, iteration after iteration, like 1 month, then second month, third month. So that is what they are trying to say. That is our highest priority, to basically give the value, deliver the value to a customer early, and give them this value, deliver this value to them continuously, iteration after iteration. Then the second one, welcome changing requirement even late in development. uh, Agile process harness the change for the customer competitive advantage. So what does this mean is, even though we are in the late in the cycle, agile frameworks should allow changing requirements. I mean, this very the example related to this I've already given you. For example, recently what happened is, with the launch of chat gtp, lot of companies which are in competition with which were playing in similar space, they have to basically continuously trash their existing roadmaps, because what they have to do is they have to align to what chat gtp is capable of. Otherwise they will not be relevant to the marketplace in coming years, right? So that's what they are telling us here, that the agile frameworks we are following should be open to changes in requirement, changes in and what why they should be open is because it will help the customer to remain competitive in the marketplace. That's the core idea being conveyed here. Third one, deliver working software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months with the preference of shorter time scale. So here they are saying that basically we should be delivering the working software. So they have knowingly used the word working software. So we are not delivering software which is not going to work. We are delivering here the software which the end customer will be able to use, or the relevant customer is able to use, right? And we want to deliver it every month, so we should be delivering at least every one, and the every month. And the preference is, if possible, we should be delivering every 2 weeks. So basically they have a preference of delivering the working software to customer in in shorter scale. That's the idea being conveyed here. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. So what is this principle? So what you I mean, this something similar to this I've discussed in the last slide. So what used to happen in waterfall is that the people who are giving us money, basically the sponsors, or the people who tell us the requirements of the product, they used to sit in a different team, and the people who are actually developing the system, you can call them software developer or testers, they used to be in different team. Many times they used to be in different locations, and there were little collaboration between these two teams. Basically there were less communication, and even if there was communication, the communication was through documentation and all that. And what problem was arising because of this structure was that, let's say the business want to build a chair, right? That's what the sponsor want. But the developers will not be able to fully understand the requirements of what the business want, and they end up building a table because they haven't fully understood what the customer want. And because of this communication gap, there were a lot of delays. There were a lot of quality problems and all that. And to solve this problem, this agile principle is embedded, which is basically the business people, which are basically the people who are giving us requirement or who are giving us money. They work hand in hand with the developers or people who are actually going to develop the product, and they work together every day, not just once in a while. So they and if possible they sit in basically same physical space, so that the developers have full access to the product people. That's the idea being conveyed here. Build projects around motivated individuals, give them environment support they need, and trust them to get the job done. So what this principle is about? So agile methodology, it is used, it is not necessarily suitable for all kind of product for projects. For example, you are building a house, right? And you are building a house which have, similar houses have been built before so many times, right? So in something which where the outcome is predictable, the success is almost so short, and which is repetitive kind of stuff. In those scenarios we can still use waterfall, because waterfall is good for it. For example, you are building a house, that is a kind of repetitive process because you have built it so many times, so the detailed plan line by line, activity by activity. But scrum is usually used for building, or agile is usually used for building complex products. Many times these products have never been built by anyone in the world. For example, you are building autonomous car. Most likely, when you are trying to build this autonomous car, it has never been built before, right? Or it might not be, even though it might be built before, but it is you as a company or you as a team, you have never built this thing before, so you are new to this. So in basically, agile is used for building something very complex. And if you are trying to build something very complex or difficult, what you need is motivated individuals, right? Who are interested in, working on complex problems. So that's why they are suggesting to build these projects around motivated people, who are motivated enough to build these products. And you have to give them the right environment and support they need, and you have to trust them. So what does that mean is, uh, you should not be doing micromanagement of these people, and you have to have enough trust on them that these people are capable enough to develop this complex product. So you have to trust them enough at that level. Otherwise, they will not be able to build this capability if you keep micromanaging it, because this is a complex product development. So that's the idea being conveyed here. And what used to happen in waterfall is there used to be project managers who tend to micromanage uh, the people who are working in software development. And what was happening is, because they were trying to solve complex problem, they were not having enough time or space to basically try things in a different way. So they have to follow exactly what the scrum master, oh sorry, what the project manager is telling, and that might not be the right way for that particular complex problem, right? And to address that problem, they have suggested this sorry they have come up with this principle number 5. Principle number 6: the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within the team is face-to-face conversation. So this principle 6 is about basically that telling the best way to convey information within a team is face to face conversation. Why? Because when we are doing face to face conversation, uh, the communication is much more better, because we are talking not just by words, we are talking with our body language, with our hand movements, with our eyes, uh, and we have opportunity to uh, uh, basically respond to the situation which is presented by the other person. So we can iterate our thoughts very much more frequently while we are talking face to face. So, and what it does is when we talk face to face, the chances of miscommunications are significantly reduced. Also, when you are talking face to face with people, it helps in taking decisions quicker. So it helps in taking speedier decision. So these are the key reasons why they have embedded principle number 6. Do you have any question on this slide? Any of these six principles before we move to the next one?
No, Vipin, this is pretty much clear.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Thanks, Sitish. Uh, so this slide is having basically again another six principles for Agile, and why we are discussing these values and principles. You know, we have to understand that point as well. So these principles and values, they are the guidelines uh, for building a agile framework. So if you look at Scrum, what it does is it embeds all these agile values and principle in itself, and it creates events and artifacts and rules so that all these agile practices can be implemented in real life. That's what they do. So basically, all these principles of agile and values, they work as guides, and all the agile frameworks are built in light of these uh, values and principles. That's the logic why we need to know these values and principles. Another reason we why we need to know this is because we have to align our mindset to these values and principles, because ultimately it is the people who are going to do the work, right? It's not like if you just have the events, let's say Scrum events, it's not that Scrum events, having those Scrum events will automatically implement Scrum. No, the main thing is these principles should be in our mind, and we have to build that mindset, agile mindset, around these principles. And whatever we are doing while we are building these products, we have to that should be guided by these agile values and principles. That's why these knowing these principle and values is important. Okay, let's go through these other next six principle one by one now. So this is principle number 7: working software is primary measure of success. So why they have come up with this principle? Because in waterfall, what used to happen, or in other methodologies, lot of time was spent in other activities. For example, there were a lot of time in contract spent in contract negotiation, in writing detailed requirement documentation, detailed design documentation. And by the end of by that time, by the end of 6 7 months, that most of the project budget is burned in just writing the documentation. And or many times, I mean, I've been in assignments where all of the project budget is burned in just writing documentation, and we haven't coded anything. So to address those kind of product failures which were happening continuously again and again, they have come up with this uh, principle which is saying working software is primary measure. So what it means is, whatever work we are doing, we have to make sure that we are by the end of a sprint or iteration or a cycle, which is usually 1 month or less, we should deliver working software. And that's what entire team will be measured against, like their success will be measured against working software. That's the core idea being conveyed here. Principle number 8: agile processes promote sustainable development. Uh, the sponsor developers and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. What does this mean? This means basically that what agile doesn't mean that you are going, I mean, instead of 8 hours a day, you're going to work 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours a day, right? What it means is basically they are saying that you continue, agile wants you to deliver uh, the sustainable value to customer sprint after sprint, right? They want you to let's say your sprint is 4 week or a month, you are delivering this value to the customer at a constant pace, month after month. And you can only do it if you are not getting burnt out, right? If you are every day you are working 14 hours, 16 hour, 18 hour a day, you can't you can't deliver maintain that pace forever. You might be able to do that for 6 months, a year, 2 year, but you can't do it for 20 years, 30 years. And that's why they have come up with this principle that agile processes are promoting sustainable development, because if you are working 20 hours a day, that is not sustainable, right? And they want you to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. Indefinitely means forever, and that is only possible if you don't get burned out, or if your team members don't get burned out. So if you are playing a role of scrum master, and if your team is working like so many hours every day, so you have to make sure that they don't get burned out. Find ways where they can still work for 8 hours and still deliver the value which is expected by customer. Obviously, the more details of how to do all those things will deliver in upcoming sessions. Continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. So basically, what it means is two things. One is that uh, we don't, in agile, we don't do the architecture upfront. Like in waterfall, what we used to do is we'll uh, build, we will do the design of the architecture upfront. In There will be a design phase initially in the beginning itself, and we'll design the whole architecture, how it is going to look like. Whereas in agile, what they it's a different way of looking doing architecture. What they are doing is they are suggesting to do the technical architecture or excellence continuously throughout each cycle. Like you continue to work on good designs and technical excellence from the beginning, and you continue to do it forever. It's like you are not doing the entire architecture upfront. uh, Rather than that, you keep doing it, you keep doing enough technical design and architecture which is enough for next few sprints. You don't do it more than that, because when you are building complex products, you don't know what design you need. You will only know it after you have already built certain part of product after because it will take time to discover what is the right architecture, and that right architecture evolve over time. You can't know it in upfront, and that's what they are trying to convince sorry implement in this principle number 9. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work done, not done. So they are using the word not done is essential. So what this principle means, let's say you have a product backlog, right? You go to customer, you survey them, and you do their interview, and they are telling you millions of things they want to do, right? If you go to customer, they'll tell you, I want to do A, B, C, D. Like you go to million, can come up with millions of things, but you're not going to develop millions of things or features in your product. What you're going to develop is something which is most valuable to your customer, and rest of the thing is fluff. It is waste. So what is this principle saying is that you have to maximize the amount of work not done. Amount of work not done is what? Fluff, waste, which the features or capabilities which are not which are not going to add much value to the life of customer. Those capabilities we have to maximize. Basically, we have to figure out what are those capabilities and never build them. And more we maximize that, that means we are going to deliver more value to the customer. That's what this principle number 10 is saying. In Scrum, this is known as backlog management, product backlog management. There are techniques for doing that. We'll discuss that in upcoming sessions. The best architecture and requirement and design emerging from self-organizing team. So what does that mean? First, we have to understand what is self-organizing team. Self-organizing teams means team which are not micromanaged. Like there is no manager who is managing them. These people are managing themselves. So you have people who are working Scrum team, and they are managing their time on their own. Nobody is telling them what to do. They themselves decide what to do. Nobody goes inside the detail of every minute, what you did in this minute, what you did in this hour. Though like that kind of thing is not practice, basically micromanagement. And when you give that autonomy to your people, they that autonomy or that self organization help these people build best architecture, best requirement, and best design. So because they will have that scope uh, to come up with these things. And obviously, just remember one thing: this is a lot of misconception in the market. People think that architecture, requirement, design come on its own. When they are using the word emerges, that doesn't mean that it comes on its own. People do this work, like people who are working in the team, they come up with architecture and requirements uh, over a period of time. So when they are saying emerges, that actually means people who are build working in these teams, they come up with these things over a period of time. That's the meaning. It doesn't come on its own. But obviously in waterfall, all these things are done upfront in the beginning of project. But in agile, we keep on doing all these things sprint after sprint. That's the meaning. Okay, let's move on to the principle number 12. At regular interval, the team reflects on how to become more effective, tune results, and adjust its behavior accordingly. What does that mean? So this the meaning of this is basically at various intervals, a regular interval, the team who is working on this agile product, what they working on building this agile product, they look back in terms of what they have. I mean, from two angle. One, they look at the product which they have built or product increment which they have built, and they also look at the process they are using to build this product. And they introspect in terms of what did not went well with the product. Obviously for this, they get feedback from the customer, and they use the customer feedback to figure out what the customer liked or not like, and they implement this or they adapt this new version of the product according to customer feedback. Second part is the process they are using. For example, they might be having n number of meetings between themselves. They might be preparing some kind of documentation, might be using, let's say, this Google Meet for meeting each other, right? So the ways of working, the process they are using, so they look at that as well at a regular interval, and figure out what is not working in the process or ways of working, and they adapt their ways of working according to what they have learned, and basically and fix that those problems in the next iteration. That's the meaning of this 12th principle, that the team look back at the product they have built, and the process they are using for building this product, and figure out the problems with it and fix them in upcoming iteration, or adapt the product and process in upcoming iteration based on the feedback and learnings. So this is 12th principle.